This is the Intuitive Leadership Mastery Podcast. What would it take for you to double your profits and half your stress with your intuition? Learn how with your host, Michael Light.
Hi, welcome back to the show. I'm here with Nicole Seelinger, and we have some interesting topics we're going to talk about focusing on your goals and how to ask for help from your spirit guides, how to make decisions using your intuition, and also about how you can clear things that are getting in your way of having a successful business. So welcome, Nicole.
Hey, Michael. Thank you for having me.
So you mentioned that when we talked earlier that you have a way of using your intuition to help out with your goals. Can you tell us more about
that? Yeah, sure. Well, I'm someone that pretty much like my personality is like a scanner, which is pretty much the opposite of the entrepreneurship. You know, like everyone always saying, oh, you need to focus. And I'm always with billions of ideas in my head and wanting to do different things. So when I suffer about those things, I really need to just always ground myself, stop, meditate, clear my mind, and really start asking questions, you know, like, so what's next? And connect with, you know, energy, try to see light coming from my crown chakra. And then, try to really see in my heart, like, what are the next steps? What is it that I should focus first?
So, and then you, instead of having 1,000 different options for you doing things, you get a clear message on what to do next.
Not necessarily. I still keep having like a bunch of ideas, keep the list, but I try to at least make like it as a priority and focus, you know, like, oh, I should at least go with this one first and handle this opportunity that is coming on the way. That is somewhat like, I kind of receive as if it's a call, okay, I'll do this first because something's going to happen. And then, but I still have the other ones that I can work later on the week or things like that, you know. I don't completely focus. It's just, I tried many times and I suffer.
Well, I think many entrepreneurs have that same bright, shiny ball syndrome. It's like there's always new, exciting things. So that's a great technique you just shared for being able to just focus on what's the next thing to do, what's the first item to do right now.
Yeah, I think it's really important to always try to ground myself and try to silence my mind a little bit, go to nature. Sometimes if I try too much to find an answer, then I get even more confused. But then the moment that I really relax, then the answer comes.
That's a good point too. You know, overthinking these things
definitely
can stop the answers coming, whereas just relaxing and allowing them to come, it makes it easier to hear the intuition.
Yeah. And especially because the overthinking is pretty much our mind, like our rational side, trying to analyze everything and trying to give you answers. Sometimes it's also the ego coming, or even energies that are not ours, you know, like society is expecting from us, you know, things that we grow up with, or even like things from our family or friends that are buzzing in our heads. We can talk about that later when we talk about limiting beliefs as well. But anyways, when all those things are in our mind, it's really hard to hear the intuition, right? So if we can really silence and relax and just, then the intuition comes. It's interesting that
How do you silence your mind and all those other thoughts coming from other people?
It is difficult. It's not like a process that I already completely dominate. I completely have control of, but what I try, as I said, sometimes is really to just like, if I'm not really being able to just do it by meditation, by grounding myself. Like I'll try to do yoga or move my body, or go for a walk, go to nature. I'll try to change, and especially change the place where I am, because if we are on the same place, then our energy in that moment, it's there. Like if we are on the table on the room, our energy is there. So all those confusions and those words and those should be doing, like that it's in our heads, are in that room as well. So it's really important, I think, to move physically and get out of that place. Go outside, go to a park, go somewhere else, move the body, do some yoga, meditate somewhere else. Sometimes I try to meditate in the same place and it continues there. So things like that are really good. One thing that is also interesting that I experienced once was in moments like this, that it was about a decision that I was a bit in fear of doing. I was like, just rationally, I took the decision. So once I took the decision rationally, like my brain calmed down, and then I could hear my intuition screaming that, like, I just couldn't feel, like, the whole day that was like, oh, that was not why am I feeling like this? I already took the decision, so it should be all good now. And like everything on my body was just telling me that's like, oh no, you should go for the other thing, And it was a decision in a moment that it was exactly about if I would sign a contract with a developer to start my website in Brazil, or if I would just like say, okay, no, wait, I need to go to a retreat first and let everything down. And like my rational side was really all the pressure and even the ego, like society. No, I want to do the website. I've been working on this for like half a year already. And the other part of me was really like, no, don't do that. Don't sign it and go for a retreat. And I didn't want to face it that what I needed was going to a retreat, for me. And it was interesting because that retreat changed my life kind of. So, that project went to the draw, and like it's just hold on right now. It's on hold right now. Maybe one day, like I'll find people in Brazil to do it, but it's not the focus right now. And I started traveling, changing everything. Started like really diving into spirituality a bit more, learn more about energy, and including this interview. I don't think it would be happening right now if I didn't go to that retreat, because I learned so much over there.
So if you just listened to your rational mind and signed that contract and ignored the retreat, you'd have had a totally different business and life.
Totally. And I think it was really my essence, like really screaming at me, like, and that I couldn't do it. But I did take this decision that I was not going to the retreat, actually. I really tried to, my rational side was really trying to find ways that to prove that I should stay. And, it was like, oh, it's too expensive, the tickets to go. Oh, there's not going to happen, or things like that. So it was just like, okay, I'm not going to go to the retreat. And then once I actually finally took the decision of not going, then I think this brain, just the mind just like shut down and like just really shut up. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right expressions in English, but I'm sorry. But once it was silent, I could really hear my intuition, because all my body could sense it. And I was just feeling a bit of sadness, like as if I lost something. The whole day was like this, and I couldn't understand it. And I was like, what's going on? And then I was like, okay, no, I need to go to the retreat, and that's it. I remember that I looked at the sky and I was like, okay, if I really need to go to the retreat, there will be like a ticket that it's going to be like less expensive. And I remember that at night I went to the miles to look at it, and before it was like 40,000 miles like to go, and then it dropped to 12,000. And I was like, okay, I'm going.
So you received a sign that,
that
go.
Confirmed. Exactly. And it was both things. I could feel my intuition, and then because of that, I still kind of needed like a bit of a sign, I guess, in that moment. And I did it. I booked a ticket at 2 a.m. and I was in the airport at 6 a.m.
Oh my goodness, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's quick action.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. All my friends were like, are you crazy? It was like just sending message, guys, I'll disappear for 10 days. And then it took me like 20 days and everyone thought I was crazy.
But you totally changed your life from jobs and business.
Yeah, like it changed me a lot. Like it was a disconstruct, like to when you face like yourself and you see all the layers, you know, and you learn about chakras and everything that is blocking you, and you can actually, in my case, I could totally see like, you know, how the ego would play like a part in telling me what to do and what I could not do, and like making me feel small, or sometimes having to defend myself, or, you know, the mind really trying to be rational. It was really interesting, like to learn more about energy, the aura, reading auras and everything. So it was cool.
Well, let's talk about that a bit later and applying it to your business.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that when you get asked to give us a presentation, you use your intuition there as well.
Yes, definitely. My presentations are not that structured. Like when I mean it's like it's not something fixed. There's always like open spaces for feeling what's the energy in the room. I tend to try to really see the energy of the place and adapt to it. And that I think it comes from the intuition. When facilitating a group as well, for example, with workations, as I was telling you, now like when they invite me to help facilitate a group, I try not to do the whole program ahead. And I really have like this moment that I will be talking individually with people, or just by sensing the group energy when I do collective intelligence workshop, like or exercise, then I can feel what is it that they need beyond what they're asking for. So yeah, because right now, for example, when we were now in Romania on the mountains, it was a beautiful place, but it was really interesting that we're actually only guys, only men in this. So you would expect this alpha male energy, you know, and people being rational and like really pragmatic and trying to get things done and objective goals. But when I was there, I really felt that they were actually needing something else. They were needing, a bit more of reflections as well on, you know, the core of their business, like ask themselves questions, like really question what they were doing, and to also strengthen their personalities, to strengthen like their confidence and things like that. And then I just pop it up with some exercises that would give a bit more of a personal strength, I guess.
Well, that's great. So you got into intuition as to what they really needed versus what they told you they wanted you to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, like, because people are asking you, like, I still try to give them what they asked. But yeah, I try to propose. I don't want to, and one thing that I've learned in my life is that I cannot like help people if they don't want that, you know, like I can read people very well and I can sense the energy, what is it that they need, but I cannot tell them that like, oh, you need this. Because if I say this, like they will totally immediately refuse it at that point. So it's always about the way that I've been learning, like how to propose. Oh, what do you guys think about this? Like we can do that. And sometimes like some people, like as I said on the exercise, they're like, yeah, it was tough. It was confronting, but actually it got good results and it made them think. And later on they were actually saying thank you and everything.
So it made for a much more powerful experience because you listened to your intuition.
I think so, definitely, because otherwise I would just give them like what they think they need, and it wouldn't be a real transformation. And once I felt that those things, like I cannot just pretend I didn't feel it, I didn't see it. And then I can see, like, you can see from the beginning of a workation to the end, like how people are doing different things, you know. Really, even like people saying like, oh my God, I got in touch with with a half sister that I haven't talked like in years, things like that. So
how could we apply that if we have a team of people working in our business? How can we apply reading that group energy to teamwork?
I think it's about having active listening. When people are like talking with team, you know, like if people are just like asking some question and just like really listening only what they're saying, you might not really see what's beyond. But when you continue to ask, and you also have to make sure that you open a sacred space for them to feel confident enough so they can actually tell you the truth, and that they can show you what is going on. It needs to have a lot of sensibility, and I think also like vulnerability plays a special part in that sense. Like for a leader, not to only show always like that they are doing everything right, but if they actually show their team that, the more human side of it, you know, the team might be more comfortable as well to show some things that they need, you know.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned a safe space. How do you
a sacred space.
Oh, sacred or safe?
Both. I said sacred, but yeah, it's pretty much safe space.
So how do you create those things?
I try to create it always as giving the example, you know, like really being open and being transparent. And as I said as well, being able to show my own vulnerabilities as well, and showing people that they can trust me, and that if they need something, I'm there to really help with their growth in somehow. You know, I don't have all the answers, but I can try to at least listen or see what is it that's going on. And I know it's hard because in business, we are always without time and doing so much. But honestly, like, I think like sometimes like people, if they're not feeling empowered, they will just suck in their job. And they don't feel engaged. But once they start feeling that they were heard and they were seen, they do get that trust back. They do get the confidence that they need. They feel more engaged even, you know, especially if they do know and they participate. I'm also a big fan in participatory leadership. So co-creation, collaboration, all those things for me are a big player. And I do believe that teams like that understand why they are why they're working on what they're working, and if they feel like they're participating somehow on the project, not only by operational side, but like also like, it would be aligning their vision as well with, let me see how I can explain, or just aligning their intentions as well with the vision that the businessman has for them. Mm-hmm. Or even sometimes it's nice if they can actually participate on the creation of that vision, or like for a project and everything. I can have like there's some interesting dynamics that I like doing, and then people can like, as if it was a brainstorming, you know, but people really building and a project together. People do feel more engaged when they do that, or at least when they do understand very well what is the mission, what is the vision that the CEO has for the business, you know, what is the vision of the brand, what is the mission, you know, why are they really using their time and energy for.
I can see how co-creating a project would create more engagement. What would you say to someone, you know, who's a bit frightened about giving up control as to, you know, what's going to be done?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because I couldn't hear.
Yeah, what would you say to someone who is they're afraid to give up control of what's going to be done on the project. They're used to like telling everyone what to do, and you're saying you get more engagement by co-creating, which means all of the people on the team co-decide what gets done.
Definitely. Well, I know there are a lot of people will have that fear. And the thing is, like, it's not about giving all the control to the employee. It's not that the employee is going to do whatever they want, but you can just start with little steps, just being more, instead of a more authoritarian kind of leadership in which you just say, here it goes, that's what you do. You have like a bit more of patience, you give a bit more of your time, at least in the beginning, to just say, so this is our objective, what we want, who we are, what we believe, our values are that. So we really want to change our customer side by providing this type of value. And that's what we really believe. So because of that, we have this project right now, and so your steps are doing this, and that. Do you agree? Would you put something else, add something else? Would you do something differently? I think this is already a big start, to just explain, just like with kids, instead of just telling them what to do, just actually explain why you're asking them to do something and ask them their opinion as well. Simply that, sometimes people can actually bring really simple ideas that can make a difference.
So do you find this ends up taking more time to get things done, or does it save time?
I think it totally saves time, especially if you have a system to do it. I mean, instead of having to control during the whole week if your employee is doing exactly what you did, you could just have one meeting in the beginning of the month, showing the whole project. It depends obviously on the type of project, but let's say in the beginning of the month or every week, and then say so those are the tasks for the week, the reason is that that's what we believe, that's what we want to achieve, what do you think about it? And then you have their feedback already, and then during the week you say, okay, now you do it, and then you can have just one meeting at maybe Wednesday night or Thursday or morning, just to make a recap, if you make sure that what they're doing is really aligned to it, if they're having any difficulties and they are going to be able to finish the whole task for the week or not, just something simple. You don't need to be reviewing so much. Sometimes you can really see what they give you. But I think it also changes a lot depending on the type of project or campaign. Depends on what kind of job is it.
So that also sounds, as well as saving time for you, it also reduces your stress.
Definitely. I think it's an investment. It's it's really about trust and empowering your employee, but you also don't want to have an employee that you have to babysit. So if you start actually showing them, giving them autonomy, to what is the final goal, what is the purpose of what they're doing, they actually start also learning about that. They start getting more autonomy, and later on they can actually start really suggesting even more things. I've had that feeling many times, that when I used to work for a big company, and later on I was just I had to suggest, and I would say no, really, if I did this, if I just focus on the sales for this weekend, I think in 3 months from now, we're going to have a problem with not having this product on the store, and I would just have to show them the things that are going on. Because the employees, they also know what's going on operational. So they see the small things that might happen and what can work better or not.
How does, in your experience, this affect the group energy? Can you feel the difference between a company that runs things through a hierarchical control versus they empower and co-create?
Sure. I can say from my experience, for example, but okay, I'm also a personality that has a lot of difficulties with authority. I might just say that immediately. So it was always, I felt that from the company that I used to work for. It's a really big company, amazing. But they had just a lot of people that would just not stay there, because if the decisions were only coming from the top and saying like, no, you need to do this, and the people are actually they are thinking, no, but we can see that some other things would be better, and they feel they're not being heard, and all they need to do is like the monkey job, that they just have to make the operational part of some other decisions. It's like as if your brain would start shrinking, You're like, well, what would I do here? So a lot of people quit. And I've seen that like in one of the companies, like really big, nice company in Brazil. And it was really seen, and everyone on the market, like in the job market, knew about that like, oh, everyone who is worked for this company and it's out, it's actually like, it's really good. Like they learn a lot. And the other ones that are still there, they normally would still keep on obeying, just not so proactive.
So this affected how successful the company was.
I think it affected, like, because you asked about the team. I think it affected mainly on the trust that it can actually build a team. Because if a lot of people are always changing, it can be a bit complicated. If people don't feel empowered on a team, it can disempower the whole team. Truth is that in a group, like if you have just one piece, it's just like a machine. If you have one piece that is not working, you can pretty much break the whole machine.
So if you have one team person who isn't aligned with where it's going, it disempowers the whole team.
It can disempower, yeah. Like if the leader doesn't understand that, if the leader is not able to see that person and try to help that out, like to really put and be aligned to the rest of the team, it can become a bigger problem in the future for sure.
So we also talked about how you use your intuition in making decisions. I'd just love to hear, some of the ways you've use that.
To take decisions.
Mm-hmm.
As I said before, first I would always try to calm my mind, to try to really access my intuition, like the real intuition, and not only the rational side of it. I also like to ask myself if I'm taking a decision based on fear or on love.
How do you tell?
This one, like if it's based on fear or love,
mm-hmm.
that one is actually quite rational. Like I will really see if it's like, okay, am I not taking this decision? Like for example, a project that I really like very much, and I'm like, oh, I'm afraid that this might happen. Then I'm trying to take this decision based on fear and not on love, because on love, I would try to go for the project because it really like resonates with what I'm doing. And that, because this is a question that it can be a rational still decision, just to understand, am I just looking to numbers and data to try to see if it makes sense to do something? Then I might be taking a decision based on fear. And sometimes, like if we think about most innovative companies, Apple, even like Typeform, I interviewed the CEO once, and he was telling me like, he started like just asking people already what they wanted from surveys. They would not have Typeform because it was something totally new that they were doing. I actually wrote an article about that like 2 days ago. So I think it's pretty much, this can be a rational question, but again, going to the intuition, if you want methods, I would just say always like for the person to try to ground themselves and try to meditate. I think it's clear their mind a little bit. And as I was telling you before, sometimes as well, like taking decisions, you cannot take a decision in the same space by looking at the problem. Like sometimes like the energy of the space, it's already clogged with all the, those talking in your head. So it's good to get out and move the body. And sometimes I just will, okay, if a decision is really being hard for me to come, I'll just really go outside and I'll go relax a little bit, let go of that anxiety. I can get a lot of anxiety on taking decisions. And so let go of that anxiety and really let it come. And normally, like in a few hours or the next day at least, the decision is there for me. I know the answer. What is it that I should do?
How do you know you know the answer from your intuition versus not? It's not just part of your ego telling you. How do you tell the difference for you?
Those things are really, like, I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to really understand it. It's something that it's being a practice for me, like even nowadays, to really understand, wait, this is coming from my ego. Is that really my essence telling me what is it I should do? And I think I'll just try to feel it if it's coming, like if it's vibrating a bit more, where is vibrating that energy for me, you know? And again, the question that if it's coming from fear or from love also helps identifying. Mm-hmm. Because when it's coming from like ego, it's really related to fear, because it's almost as if it was a mechanism of defense for ourselves, and the ego doesn't want us to fail or doesn't want us to be embarrassed in front of other people, and it's really how we relate to society. So it normally goes and hides itself behind fear. And while the essence, it's all about trust. It doesn't have any doubts. You know, like when you don't have doubts, it's because it's really your higher being saying, like, yeah, that's what you need to do.
So what about if you have other people's expectations or other people's energies around this decision? How do you access your intuition in that case? Do you do something to clear that out before you listen to yourself, so you're not hearing other people's answers?
It depends on if the decision affects only me or if it also affects the other ones. So what are your questions?
So if it's just a decision for you, but other people have their own opinions and you're picking that up.
So that's really good, again, like to really understand how other people's energy can affect us, and having that awareness and really being able to connect with yourself. If the person knows how to clean their aura, even better, really understand, like really getting a lot of the crap out of our aura, you know, because we are always interacting with other people and everyone's energy in ourselves. So if we can clear that, maybe cut cords from energies that are stronger, you know.
So for people who don't know what the aura is, can you just say what that is in a sentence? Okay.
I would say that it's like the energy field around us that is pretty much our energy. Well, and it's also carrying out our energies.
Okay, so it's like a sphere of energy around you that contains your energy and other people's energy.
Hopefully it would be only yours, but truth is that we are always interacting and we are always exchanging energy. That's the thing. Like everything's energy. It's pretty much like this. So it's an extension of our body, but in a more energetic way.
And then how would you clean that?
How I clean that? Well, I have my own techniques, but I think it's good to try to visualize, try to rest with yourself, like quiet your mind, try to get in silence, far away from, in a place that you're not really close to a lot of people. So you can just be with your own energy. I think for someone that doesn't even know what aura means, like just to try to silence their mind, it might be difficult, but if they can try to connect with their body, feel, you know, like those exercises in which you're relaxing your body, and try to feel what's going on with their body first. I'm not going to talk too much about energy because otherwise it might get too confusing. So I think it's first like this, connect with their own body and then with that energy as well. And once they kind of start recognizing a little bit more what's going on with their energetic field or inside their body, it can be either physically or emotionally. It changed so much from one person to another. People might have like some sort of vision or hear something or just like sense it, sense some parts of the body tickling maybe. And really connecting completely with their energy. I like to visualize like a big gold rose close, like in front of me or like in the middle of the living room or something. And that big golden rose, it's just kind of like, how do we say this? Like, it will suck all the energy that is not mine. Like any kind of other energy that's not mine, I'll just let it go.
So it's like an auric vacuum cleaner. It's sucking out.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. I imagine like that. Yeah. And then on top of my head, I have like this golden shiny sun, which is my higher self, which is like really illuminating myself completely with my own energy. And all the other energies, I just put it on the rose. So even if I have a headache or when someone tells me something that is worrying me or something like this, I'll try to get that golden rose, like, and just throw whatever is that worrying me in that thing. And then after a while, I'll just like get that rose and just throw it really far away in the middle of the universe to explode and transmute far away from me. So I think that's my technique. I have a more complex technique, but like there's something called the rose meditation, but I wouldn't be able to explain here and I can't really do it. People need to go to a retreat for that.
Well, I think the thing you explained is a good way to start. The other thing I find helps is taking a salt bath. So just getting some regular salt or bicarbonate soda or Epsom salts and stick a handful of that in a bath and then just relax in the bath for 15 or 20 minutes.
Definitely. I think like the sea water is perfect. Before, when I was growing up, like, and I didn't know too much about meditation and stuff, I never understood what I was doing, but it was pretty much that. Like I would always, if I had too much in my head, I needed to go to the sea and at least step on the sea. And then I just visualize that all my body is getting clean, like everything that is not mine is just like going away, and the sea is just taking everything away.
I think that's why so many people have the experience that they feel good when they're at the seaside.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure it really helps cleaning, like the salty water. And it's also like, it's a bit of a mixture of the feeling of being in nature, and connected. And, the ocean has a lot of power, so it can also really empower us.
So I'm curious how you work with your guides and angels in your business.
I think it's pretty much like when I'm really completely hopeless. I mean, I know they are there, and they're looking after me like always. But I'm more of a person that is trying to always show gratitude and be thankful for the things that are going on. And, I might almost fall down the stairs and I say, oh my God, thank you guys. You really rocked and you saved my life right now. But because I am very clumsy, but like with business side of things, I try to first really do things myself. As I said, like, either rationally, like taking the decisions with those questions or using the intuition and meditating. But once I'm really completely in a way that in an environment that I don't feel connected, that it happens a lot actually with me, like depending on where I am, if I'm surrounded by too many pragmatic people, I just feel like I get really disconnected, and I really have difficulty meditating. My brain's working too much and I really capture that energy from the place. And I even sometimes forget like, oh, those things really exist, like you just kind of, you just start living that routine and practical life, So in moments that I really feel like I'm not really being able to connect with myself and getting the answers myself, then I'll pretty much ask them. I really like looking at the skies and to the stars and just talk with the sky sometimes, or talk with angels and like saying like, oh my God, where should I go? I don't know, like what is the path that I should take right now? Because it's really blurry. I don't know. And normally that also happens when I don't have external answers. It's not something that is depending all on myself. Like my life is pretty much, I don't have all the control on my life right now. I'm creating a new life. So it's also about a bit of a surrender and saying, I'm expecting answers, and those answers are coming externally, like, for example, a visa, being accepted or declined, or, an appointment or in an embassy or things like that. It doesn't depend on me. So I will just ask for help, like for external help as well, like for my angels or the universe to just please show me the path.
And do you ask them out loud, or you're saying this in your head, or you write it down, or?
I think people will have different ways of doing it. Like writing is a very powerful way, like to set our goals in writing, to say what we want. That's a way to start materializing. But in my case, I just say it out loud, or if I'm talking with the universe, if there's no one around me, I'll say it out loud. If there are people around me, I'll just say it in my head.
And do you hear answers immediately, or the next day, or?
Not immediately. Sometimes I feel I can already kind of start feeling a bit of peace and calm. Like that comes immediately. Mm-hmm. That whatever it is, it's going to work out. But the answers tend to come really quick, like either on the same day or even like the next day. And sometimes everything really changed completely in a way that is surprising, and all the pieces of a puzzle are together. And this can be very impressive.
Wow. Sounds like a powerful thing to have in your business. So you mentioned a story where your guides and angels helped you out getting a visa. Can you share that with us?
Sure. I think it was more of it was exactly this year, like in July, for example. I was telling you, for those who don't understand my story, I just closed my business in Brazil, left everything behind, and started traveling the world. And now with so many opportunities in Europe, I started like, okay, I need at least a base. It's not that I want to still travel and do things everywhere, but I needed to open, because the world doesn't recognize you just as a global citizen. You need to have a residency somewhere. You need to open a new business, a trade license somewhere else. And so I'm applying for a visa. And then I had like many opportunities. I had about 5 invitations in August only to have, accommodation, to have a place for staying like the whole month. Some things were vacations, and some things would be like to just always like no money involved, because I cannot work in Europe right now without the visa. But all like those opportunities, I just had to say no, because I could not stay in the Schengen territory. I had to keep counting. So, and I had invitation to go to a vacation, like to work for them, like in Romania. I had a wedding in Romania from friends. And I just couldn't say yes. And I just couldn't, because I had to wait for the appointment for the visa that would be somewhere around Europe. And I also had to, at the same time, to get my passport renewed. And that would have to be in a Brazilian embassy. So I had to wait for answers from 2 different embassies, like from 2 different countries, that probably would be in 2 different countries. And I had to kind of somehow make it happen together. And the embassy, like, for example, for renewing the visa, they could take like some needed appointment and they would take me like about 1 month. Some I could just show up, but it would take me 60 days to have it back. So it was a bit crazy. And some, they would just cut my passport and I wouldn't be able to even travel. So I was pretty much emailing and calling more than 10 embassies around Europe to try to find out how I would do this. And there was a point that I was just like really exhausted. You know, my friend like wanted to know if I would come to her wedding. The girl from the workation who invited me to go to the mountains in Romania, she wanted to, of course, to know if she could count on me. And I was just feeling so frustrated and so exhausted and like completely out of control of my life. So I remember this day that I was just like, I was really exhausted and I was just like, come on, please. Like, I know everything's going to be fine, but can you please hurry up in giving me the answer? Because I cannot take it. You know, I'm tired of not knowing what's going on. Where should I go? How I should arrange this? I need to get out of Schengen. And I need to work on, like, make this visa thing happen. I need to renew my passport. And there are too many options, not options, variables, you know, there are too many variables that are like right now pieces of a puzzle and I don't know how to connect them. Where should I go? And
so just to be clear to the listeners, you were talking to your angels and guides at that point.
Yes, I was talking to the university, pretty much. Yeah, I was talking to the universe. I also asked then for my angels, like, please show me, like, can you just guide me? Because right now I'm tired. You know, I was trying to look, you know, I keep looking sometimes for flights and I just couldn't even book anything, you know, you just don't know where you go. And we know that when we travel so much, sometimes we do need to plan a little bit ahead. And I'm okay, I'm very flexible, but I go to an extreme sometimes that I just have no clue of what I'm doing next, like no clue at all of what I'm going to be even like the next 2 days or something. So in that moment, I was just having a breakdown pretty much. And I was like, okay, can you just please, I'm really tired. And I closed the computer. I was like, I'm not going to think about this anymore. Just show me what to do, where to go. How does that all comes together? And the next day, I had a confirmation of an appointment on the Czech Republic Embassy in Vienna for right before the vacation in Romania. And I had as well, like finally the reply from the embassy in Bucharest, which was pretty much the best and most easy way to get a new passport for me. So it was perfect because I could just like go on the way, you know, go to Vienna and from Vienna go to the vacation. Everything would work out because I would be outside Schengen. I could go to the wedding. I could go visit a friend as well in Bulgaria. It was awesome. And on the vacation as well, I connected with many people, like many friends from before, made connections for the future as well. Everything everything got together in a way that I would never ever be able to put it together like that. So
wow, so that's a powerful method if you're feeling overwhelmed with too much information, too many options, to just ask the universe or ask your angels or guides to help you.
I think so.
Make it easy.
It's not about just asking and not doing anything. Let's just remember that I was going crazy. I had already emailed about 13 embassies or something like that. I had called a few of them. You know, I was really doing my homework. I was really doing everything already. But I think it's about the acknowledgement that sometimes there are plans like that we don't really know what's best for us, and maybe something that we are not predicting can just be arranged, you know. It can I think it's about trusting as well.
So I'd like to talk about clearing limiting beliefs in business, because a lot of us have things that we want to do in our business, but we hold ourselves back. We have resistance.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know you're an expert on this, so you gave a great talk on this. Can you tell us a bit about clearing beliefs that get in the way? Maybe have an example belief that we can talk about.
Sure. For example, what happens that we grew up having a lot of input from society, especially from our parents, from our closest friends, and then we have pretty much beliefs that will be pretty much in our core, and saying whatever, like money is evil, or I cannot show up too much. I need to be humble. Like I always said that in Brazil, for example, it's a bit different from the American culture in that sense. Like I grew up really learning and hearing that I could not show up too much because otherwise people would be envying me and like it would attract me a lot of trouble. So I had to hide myself. It was how I grew up. Like this was mainly the energy of my mom getting into my head. And because of that, I really, even though I was always like pretty much of a mediator, doing a lot of things and very proactive, I always tried not to, I would just shake if I would talk in public, if I was in front of a camera, even worse. I would not be able to do an interview right now, for example. And about 2 years ago, I realized that in an entrepreneurship camp, because I was talking with many entrepreneurs, and then the instructor came to me and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, they were asking me about," I don't remember which topic it was. And I was talking and he was like, "Yeah, there are 7 or 8 people hearing you." And I was like, "Yeah, so what?" And he was like, "That's why your business is not working." And this was about the business that I said it before, that I put it on hold. He was like, "That's why you don't do the transition to your business," which was a marketplace for kids. But that's why you don't do that transition, because you clearly still have to be talking with other entrepreneurs. They're listening to you. Why are you not speaking to the camera? Why are you not really putting yourself out there? Why don't you have a blog? And I was like, "No, I cannot do this. I cannot speak in front of people. I just shake." And he was like, "You're doing it now." And that really made me think. And in that same entrepreneurship camp, it was the blacksmith camp. Mm-hmm. And then there was another instructor, and he was talking about limiting beliefs, and I was starting to hear about those and about all the programs that we have since the spiritual retreat even. So we had really great talks about how, like the invisible world that we have, like everything that grows with us, like all the things that we hear, they start manifesting in our visible world, because we just start taking the decisions based on our beliefs. Like our actions are going to be totally based on our beliefs, and that's what's going to make the creation of the world. Like that's what's going to materialize to us. And then after that, I just started traveling, and somehow people start asking me more and more to talk. And I still would shake and like be very like afraid. And at some point I really stopped and realized, okay, I really need to figure out why that's happening, because it was totally uncontrollable. Like it wasn't something rational. I would just like, if I would start talking in front of a bigger group of people, if I saw that the whole room was looking at me, immediately my whole body would shake. So I started meditating on that and try to really understand, and then exercise, and I started studying about limiting beliefs. And so I think that would be the example, and it really can heal us when we do this. So a simple exercise, for example, that your listeners can do is to really think of what is that they have in mind, like a goal that they really want to do, but they feel stuck. Mm. And then really try to see what are the beliefs that they have that might be on the way of that goal, and then they start breaking down, like try to think of their parents, for example, when they were childhood. How did their parents act towards that topic? For example, money. How did their parents act around money? Like, were they someone that spent a lot of money and had no care, that were careless on how they spend the money, and so now the person's trying to save too much? Or were their parents more like very religious, and they think that money is evil, and they think that like, oh, every person that it gets too much money starts thinking just about themselves or whatever. And that, because of this, they just say, oh, I don't want money. I've heard so many entrepreneurs already talking that's like, oh, I don't want to grow my business too much. I don't need money. I don't want money. And I used to be like this as well. For a lot of time, actually, I was completely blocked and no money was coming. I would just do a lot of exchange. So once we start saying, like, from a very rational point of view, even like, what are our memories on money? And then we write down those things. What are our parents talking about? And then we really need to kind of substitute those beliefs and start like really creating. Either I create like 3 beliefs for each one of those negative beliefs. From the limiting beliefs, I'll try to create like 3 good ones that are like an antidote for those. Like, for example, oh, I don't need money because money is evil. I'll say, look, no, I need money because I'm a good person, and with money I can do great projects for so many people. If I have money, I can also make my business grow, and like nothing else is going to be, I don't know, then I will not waste that much time like thinking about money, and then I can actually do more productive things. You try to change the conception of money. Money is just a tool. Money is a tool of materializing things on earth. So it's whatever how I use it. If I want to use it for good things, it's going to be good. Money is not evil. Things like that. So I think it's an important thing actually for any entrepreneur to really have the conscience of what are their blocks, what are the things that might be on the way for them to achieve next level.
That sounds powerful, because I think so many of us have limiting beliefs. Probably we all do.
We do. We definitely do. We have so many programs. And sometimes it's hard to understand. There is that beautiful phrase, I think it's from Maya Angelou, that says that we are most scared about like how powerful we are. I have to look at it and then I'll send you, but I forgot now.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. We're more frightened about shining a light and being most powerful in the world.
Exactly.
To paraphrase it. So you also mentioned that there are other techniques that you teach when you do a workshop for clearing limiting beliefs, clearing the chakras, clearing past trauma. So there's a lot more that can be done here. And then I think also the other thing is that often I notice businesses reach a plateau. They grow to a certain size and then they get stuck. And that also can come from limiting beliefs. So anywhere in your business that isn't working well, or you've grown your business to a certain size but you're having trouble getting it to get to the next size, there's a limiting belief or limiting beliefs in the way.
Totally. I think we are in the same symphony, because you just captured my thought. I was really thinking of that to give that example, that a lot of times the plateau, it means, people have that tendency to think, oh, I can only grow up to this point. I just need the money to come for this amount a month, or I cannot handle too many people, to have a big team or things like that. And it definitely, I always say one thing is that like no business will ever outgrow their founder. Either the founder will have to step away so the business can grow, or the founder really needs to, catch up on their progress and keep on growing. Otherwise, the business will stop at some point and reach that plateau.
So if people wanted to connect with you further, how would they find you? Do you have a place on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, they can definitely Nicole Seelinger on LinkedIn, and they can find me over there. They can also connect me with me, Seelinger, on Instagram or Twitter. And my website will be, it's a surprise. It's going to be launched later on this year, like as soon as some things are worked on.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Get strategies and show notes at intuitiveleadershipmastery.com. What would it take to see you here next time on the Intuitive Leadership Mastery Podcast?